Instagram in just a second, but YouTube and Facebook are live right now. It's awesome to see you guys this morning. As you guys are joining us, then you're joining us at 7 at 7. We've got 7 people on Facebook, 7 at 7. That's freaking a miracle right there. Bam, from 7 to 198, just like that. I love it. I'm going to go ahead and hit this start live button here so we're good for Instagram. And now we have Facebook Live, we've got Instagram, and we've got YouTube all synced up, ready to go. And we're excited to join you here, 7 at 7. Good morning. Let us know where you're tuning in from this morning. Got up from Louisiana, Cherie, good to meet you. Glad you're there. Greenville, South Carolina, Mark. It's so awesome to have you. Melissa from New Zealand. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. I don't know where DE is. Is that Delaware? I'm not really sure. I'm terrible at geography. Texas, Mike, good to have you. Jesse from Kentucky and Jay something from Boston. Great to have you. Philippines, so great to have you guys. Man, this is pretty incredible to be a part of 7 at 7. And YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, social media, we get to join together all at the same time, which is pretty great. We are going through 7 Mile Miracle. And how many of you guys have got it already? How many of you have read it already? Has anybody read it completely already? Anybody? Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning, Philippines. EFAM in the house. That's right, Maya. Love that. Canada. Tanya, good morning. Trenton, New Jersey. Wilson. Great. Anybody finish reading it? Go ahead and let me know you finished reading it. Or if you've gotten it. If you don't have it, make sure to grab it on Amazon or 7milemiracle.com. So you're going to need your 7 Mile Miracle book this morning. You're also going to need your Bible and maybe your beverage of choice. Mine is black tea to start the day off. And I'm going to introduce myself, I guess. That'd probably be good. My name is Ken. I am the campus pastor at our Gaston location. And I am not a morning person, contrary to this broadcast. But, sometimes you do things you don't necessarily want to do for the people that you love. And I love the EFAM. I love you guys. And so we're doing 7 at 7 this morning. My wife, Ashley, and I will be celebrating 10 years of marriage in June. And we've got a little baby boy on the way May 5th. So you can be praying for us that we get all the sleep we can get in right now, because we won't be getting it in a little bit. But and today is my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. And my mom is from Sri Lanka. And so if there's anybody in the India area, or it's an island right off of India called Sri Lanka. And so I did see some people tune in from the Philippines, so that's not too far off. But good morning. It's great to have you. We've got volunteers setting up right now at all of our locations. So just a reminder, join us for church. Join us for church if you can at any of our locations. You can get elevationchurch.org/locations to find out where to go. And of course, you can join us online, elevationchurch.online, #EFAM in the house. Very cool. Well, of course, we're in 7 Mile Miracle. We're looking at the final 7 statements that Jesus made and as he died on the cross. And today, we're in Mile 5. We've been talking about this all week long. We're finishing up Mile 5 out of John 19:28, where Jesus says, I am thirsty. And this is a word of distress. And distress is actually defined as anxiety, sorrow, or pain. Anxiety, sorrow, or pain. And Jesus was in so much pain, he was experiencing so much sorrow and physical anxiety that he cried out, I am thirsty. But I know that all of us have found ourselves in a similar situation where we felt anxiety, we felt stress, we felt pain, we felt sorrow. And no matter where you are, I feel like, Jesus is setting the example, because he called out, even in this dire moment, he decided he was going to call out. And he was going to ask, he's going to say, I am thirsty. And he humbled himself before that. And I don't know about you girls and you guys out there, but I am one of the last people to ask for help, even when I need it the most. Anybody else with me? Anybody? Anybody out there? Instagram, Bonnie, are you with me? Michelle, are you with me from Miami? Jovi, do you feel this way? Like, I'm telling you, for me, Matt, it's just like this. Maybe in Poland, it's just like this. Like, you may not feel like, okay, I'm going to ask for help, but we desperately need to. And when I feel anxiety, or when I feel pain, or when I feel like things aren't going my way, when I feel stressed out, I often turn inwards. I self-absorb. And please tell me that I'm not alone in this at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. And yes, thank you, Jennifer. You are with me. I love that. That's great. And so I feel like I just self-absorb. But what Jesus has shown us in this is that we've got to admit that we need help. We've got to admit that we're thirsty. And, I mentioned that my wife and I are expecting a baby boy in May, but it's actually an incredible miracle. Not just the miracle of a child, but the miracle that we're having a child. See, we've gone through 7 years of infertility. And so this is quite the miracle for us. And through these 7 years, we felt a lot of sorrow. We felt a lot of pain. We felt a lot of anxiety. And, you would think that the very first thing that we do is cry out to God. But it actually took us about 2 years before we decided we were even going to pray about it. We just thought it was all on us. And so, I feel like sometimes in our lives, we get to this point where we don't even ask God to help us because we think that we can fix it ourselves. At least I'm like that. How many of you have been thirsty for years, but you haven't even cried out to God yet? And so what I learned from Jesus in this moment is that he's like, you know what? I'm going to cry out, and no matter what, no matter the stress I'm feeling, no matter the anxiety that I'm feeling, no matter the pain I'm feeling, I'm going to cry out. And he says, I am thirsty. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some of you are like, I've been crying out, and my situation has not only not changed, it's actually gotten worse. Well, let me tell you, Rhonda, it's so great to have you from Gaston. And Rhonda, I know you're like this. Jovi, I know you're like this as well, that sometimes your situation gets worse when you cry out to God, but you're not alone in this. You're not alone in this, because Jesus himself, as he cried out and said, I am thirsty, he was met with a sponge filled with vinegar. And so sometimes it's like, man, what do I have to do? What in the world is going on? And sometimes it's like, okay, how do we get back to the place that God is like going to answer our prayer? And so I want to look at some scripture this morning, and we actually see it in Psalm 37:25, and we see that I have never seen the righteous forsaken. Never. I've never seen the righteous forsaken. And in Romans 8:31, it says, if God is for us, who can be against us? You need to be reminded of that this morning, that if God is for you, who can be against you? And then finally, in Hebrews 13:5, it says, he will never leave us nor forsake us. And I know I don't have everything figured out, and I'm not even going to try to tell you that I do. But I've got to be reminded of the scriptures that Jesus cried out. I got to be reminded that we're never left, we're never forsaken. And in page 111 of 7 Mile Miracle, Pastor says it in a great way, and I just wanted to read this for you as well. It says that Jesus was in a situation of distress, but his outcome was not hopeless. And I wanted to remind you this morning that there are a few things that you need to tell yourself, that your situation, even though you're in distress, you are not hopeless. And so your job is not hopeless. Your unemployment is not hopeless. Your relationship or your lack of relationship is not hopeless. Your infertility is not hopeless. Your finances are not hopeless. Your school is not hopeless. Your diagnosis is not hopeless. Your depression is not hopeless. Because, sometimes we find ourselves that we're tired, we're confused, we're hurting, we're afraid, we're angry. We are thirsty for what God has for us, and he is willing to quench our thirst, to change our circumstances if we cry out. So, I'll tell you what, I would have never asked for God to allow me to go without a family for 7 years. I would have never asked for 2 miscarriages along the way. But I also know that my faith wouldn't have been strengthened without going through this. I think that sometimes I've heard people say, I wouldn't have asked for it, but I wouldn't change it if I could. Maybe, I don't know if I agree with that completely, because I'm not sure I wouldn't go back and change the fact that we've gone through 2 miscarriages. But I do know that my faith wouldn't be where it is if we hadn't have gone through them. I think that Jesus would have changed his circumstance if he couldn't be on the cross. We see that in the Garden of Gethsemane, that he asked God to take that cup from him, but he knew that that was the only way for us to receive a relationship with him. And so I want to make sure that you guys know that through your distress, it's not hopeless. That through your circumstance, it's not hopeless. And even though it may be seeming like it's getting worse, God is always with you. Isaiah 55:1 says, "Come, all you who are thirsty, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come buy and eat." Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." So if you find yourself in a place of distress, remind yourself today that it's not hopeless, and that Jesus is with you, and that he's walking with you on this 7-mile journey. We're only in mile 5, and the miracle is around the corner. Well, it's been great to join you guys this morning. 7 at 7 has been strong, and I can't wait to see what God continues to do through this series. Just as a reminder, join us in a couple of hours online, elevationchurch.online, or of course, any of our locations. You can come to Gaston, strong all day long if you want to join us today. And of course, you can go, if you have not gotten 7 Mile Miracle, quick reminder, Amazon.com, 7milemiracle.com, and we'll see you guys in a couple of hours. Don't forget to share this on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't, and of course, join us on Instagram Live any chance you get. All right, we love you guys. Have an incredible morning. See you later.